What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to visit the subreddit of Am I the Asshole, but we're going to do LGBT Edition. Not to throw the mood down before the video, but my parakeet passed away. He was 13 and a half, and I just thought that everyone should say rip to my little Malenko. He's a very old parakeet and he was my best friend. And I just wanted you all to know that he had a great impact on my life. Rest in peace, Malenko. This one's for you. So if you don't know what Am I the Asshole is, it is a subreddit where people go on and they ask about a situation, and then they say, hey, am I the asshole or is the other person the asshole? Am I the asshole for telling my son that he's obviously gay? Do we even need to read this one? My son, 17 male, has apparently been in the closet for the past 7 months. So my son is fairly masculine / straight acting, if that makes sense. However, he's very obviously had a boyfriend, 18 male, for the past 7 months. He sometimes baby talks to this boy, hugs him all the time, has called him handsome, shares clothes, sits way too close to each other to the point where they're basically cuddling. He closes his bedroom door with him, but not with any other friends, sees him like every day, buys him gifts, and for the past 7 months he now always smells great, has his hair fixed really nice, and dresses nicer, among other things. Today I asked my son if I was going to invite his boyfriend on our trip, and he got awkward and said, that's not funny. I asked what he meant and he said, I'm straight, that's not funny. I laughed, and when I realized he was serious, I started laughing even harder. I told him he was very obviously in a relationship with a guy and did a terrible job at hiding it. He got emotional and started asking me not to tell his dad. My husband already knows, like I said, it was obvious. Then he got upset saying that I outed him when he wasn't ready. He hasn't said a word to me in a couple of days. Am I the asshole? Laughing in your son's face, especially at the age of 17, and when someone's not ready to come out and then you're like, oh, well, we all knew. That's not a good feeling. At the end of the day, who cares if it's obvious? Just treat your kid with respect, or anybody with respect for that matter. Am I the asshole for asking my trans brother to be my bridesman? Okay, this one should be interesting. My 27 female brother Jake, fake name, 25 male, transitioned from female to male 3 years ago. I was and am completely supportive of him. I'm getting married next year and I've been gathering my bridesmaids team. My twin sister is going to be my maid of honor, and it was also important for me to have Jake with me at the altar. So I asked Jake if he would be my bridesman and be part of my side of the wedding party. I didn't think it would be an issue at all, but Jake freaked out. Jake said that he should be a groomsman for my fiance because he doesn't want to be seen with my bridesmaids, all 3 of whom are girls, because people will just think he was a girl. He accused me of asking him to be a bridesman because I still thought of him as a girl, which isn't true. I explained to him that it didn't make any sense for him to stand by my fiance because they've only met a handful of times and my fiance already has the budget approved number of groomsmen. And besides, Jake is my brother and I want him to stand by and support me during the wedding. Plus, before Jake transitioned, I always planned to include him in my wedding, so why should his gender change anything about that? I see his argument that it might make him feel dysphoric, but having bridesmen is becoming a more common tradition. Besides, he has a beard and he'd be wearing a suit, so there's no way anyone would think he was a girl. Jake and I fought back for a while, and I finally snapped and told him he couldn't be in the wedding at all if he didn't want to stand on my side. He called me an asshole, and it made me feel awful. I guess I needed to vent about this to strangers, so am I the asshole? Like, it does have to do with you being trans, but also doesn't. So to me, I don't think this person is an asshole because they want him to be on her side, but I can also see how the dysphoria comes in. There are men and women who go on each side. It is becoming a more acceptable thing in society. It doesn't have to be one way or the other. Then again, I get the dysphoria, so I don't really know, but I don't really think this person is an asshole. Just some people are more dysphoric or insecure than others, and they won't take it as lightly as somebody else would. But my ultimate judgment, not the asshole. Am I the asshole for not telling my girlfriend that my parents are gay? I'm 25 male. I have 2 parents. My birth dad, John, who's 48, and my other dad, Dwayne, who's 45. I call my birth dad John, Dad, and I call my other dad, Dwayne, Pops. My birth dad, John, was married to my mom for a few years, then she left my dad, and yeah, they ended up divorcing, and now she's somewhere in California. I don't know where or what she's doing, haven't talked to her in ages. So Dad and Pops I'm super close with. They're the best parents any child could ever ask for. I love both of them, and they've always been with me. My dad introduced me to Pops when I was a little boy, and they had told me that they were in a relationship, and I was all for it because I had saw my dad become lonely and sad when he was single, so seeing the fact that my dad loves someone and has a life partner made me super happy. Pops and Dad got married, and we've been living an amazing life. I'm probably more close to Pops than my own dad, and due to the fact that Pops is really cool and that he's laid back, I love them both equally and they love me as well, and I'm blessed to have them as parents. For a few months I've been dating this girl Bella, who's my age. I thought she's pretty cute and I liked her, so we kicked it, and recently she told me, my parents want to meet your parents and want to come over for dinner. I said, sure, I'll tell my family. So yesterday, Friday night, Bella comes in, Pops greets her and says, come on in sweetheart, dinner is ready. She says, you must be blank's dad, so good to meet you. She shakes his hands and sees Dad come out of the kitchen. He's holding the mac and cheese tray with the mince and is putting it on the table. Then Bella says, "Who is he?" I said, "Oh, that's my dad." She said, "I thought he's your dad." And she's referring to Pops. I say, "Yeah, that's my Pops, and that's my dad." She pulls me to the side and she says, "I didn't know your parents are gay. Oh my God. Why didn't you tell me?" I genuinely didn't know why that there would be an issue or so, because you're dating me, not my parents and all, so it shouldn't matter. But I guess it's a concern for her. Her parents came at the door after they parked the car, and Bella tells her parents, "Let's leave." And they left. I told my parents I'm sorry, and they said, "Son, don't worry, this is nothing new." And then we all sat down and enjoyed dinner and went to sleep. So am I the asshole for not telling? For me, no, this person is not the asshole. I mean, you could have said something to her, but at the end of the, like, before they meet, but also there should never ever be room for homophobia or anything like that. But it would also be nice to weed out somebody who is, because you don't know if she, I mean, if you've never gotten onto that topic with her, you don't know if she's homophobic until it was in that awkward moment. So I mean, that's kind of a lesson for him to learn, I guess, but he's been so used to it since being a child that it's just not weird for him to have two parents. Like, no one should ever assume that both parents are going to be a woman and a man or something like that. I mean, especially today. Somebody said, "Not the asshole, did she ever tell you her parents are straight?" Somebody said, "Not the asshole, but perhaps naive. Unfortunately, it's probably better to let a girlfriend know you have two dads so you can weed out the homophobes before you accidentally bring them home for dinner," which is literally exactly what I said. Yeah, that kind of sucks for him though, because he liked her. Congratulations, Bella. You earned a new nickname, Bella the bitch. Bella the homophobic bitch. Sorry if your name is Bella. Am I the asshole for not letting my trans daughter come out to our extended family until after our vacation? We don't even have to read this one either. My answer would be, you are the asshole. My daughter, a female 17, is transgender, but she's currently only out to her immediate family. My husband and I call her by her preferred name and use the right pronouns for her, but as nobody else in the family knows she's trans, they refer to her by her dead name and with he/him pronouns. So far, this has only been in periods of around an hour or two, so in her words, it's been slightly bearable. But the thing is, we're going on a week-long vacation with some of our relatives soon, and we are all sharing a house. Because of this, our daughter will be referred to by her dead name and will be presenting as male. She has expressed her discontent with this to the point that she's considering not going on vacation and staying at home, but her father and I both agree that she should wait until afterwards to come out. It's not that anybody in the family is transphobic. If anything, they're probably the opposite. I'm not worried about her being in any danger or facing any transphobic comments, but I worry that it won't be enough time for them to fully understand that our daughter is trans, and that the topic would take up the entire vacation, which nobody wants. We all just want to be able to have a nice vacation and not have to deal with this gender stuff. Am I in the wrong for not letting her come out, or is my daughter being selfish? I hate the term not dealing with this gender stuff. We want to have a nice vacation and not deal with your gender stuff, okay? Like, I get pausing on coming out on certain occasions. Just tell them in advance that she's trans. It doesn't have to be, your vacation's not going to be ruined with this gender stuff. You could probably have like a singular 1 hour conversation out of the week with the whole family, everybody together, and done. That's it. Am I the asshole for not telling family friends that my daughter is trans? My daughter, age 12, told me she was a girl at 2 years old, a week after her second birthday. I kind of assumed she was playing pretend, but after a year of it incessantly, I realized it was something more. By the time she was 3.5, she had fully transitioned in every way that she could at that age, and we haven't looked back since. My cousin recently got married. His wife and her family did not know us when my daughter was younger, and I presume my cousin never thought to mention it. Anyway, we were at their house. She has 2 daughters from a previous marriage, and her younger sister spent a lot of time there, so the girls were playing. My daughter excused herself to the bathroom, and I guess my cousin's stepdaughter followed her up. Anyway, about 2 minutes later, we hear my daughter yell before the littler one runs downstairs and announces to the whole room that my daughter has a penis. I obviously run straight up to my daughter, who's in tears. Essentially, she was desperate and hadn't locked the door. Littler one barged in and saw her. My daughter pees sitting down and the toilet faces the door, so it was kind of obvious. Cousin's wife comes up after me, asks me what's going on. I explain her daughter had barged into the bathroom when my daughter was peeing, and she asked me if my daughter was secretly a boy, which obviously upset my daughter more. We left without me answering any of their questions. It was a day of cuddles following that, with my phone turned off. My cousin showed up to my door and said his wife had kicked him out after he stated he wouldn't share my daughter's private information. I thanked him and decided to deal with the situation. My daughter had given permission to tell them, but I worked on a sort of protective force first. Called my 2 older sisters, one of them which is married to a trans woman, to come over and stay with my baby while I dealt with everything. She had a good night with them. Anyway, the incident had reached a lot of people, and I had an influx of angry people saying I deceived them and now they couldn't trust me in case I lied about anything else. Essentially, I made a public post explaining that my daughter is transgender, came out at a young age, and that I didn't lie to anyone. She's a girl, regardless of what genitals she has. No one took it particularly well, besides the people who already knew. Now, I'm not sure if keeping it a secret was the best way to go about things, seeing how negatively it's affected everything. I feel bad for my daughter and the family that this has negatively affected. I will not apologize for not telling them. I don't feel like an apology is owed, but I still don't know if I was necessarily in the right for keeping it a secret, so am I the asshole? You are absolutely not the asshole, and you will never be the asshole. Nobody has to know any business about anything that has to do with your children at all. First of all, why is the child not knocking before the door is while the door is closed? Whatever. Anyways, it's the way it's handled by the adults. Are you really that angry? Oh my god, like, they saw the other genitals of somebody else. Oh my god, it's such a big deal because it's not the same exact one as, like, my daughter's or whatever. Really, shut the fuck up. Kids can be aware of these things without you making it weird. You can teach kids about genitals without it being weird. Not that you're going to give them a fucking class on it, but it's like, some people look different down there. Genitals aren't anything shocking and something to be ashamed of. These people shouldn't have to show up to a function and be like, oh yeah, by the way, my daughter has a penis, so just make sure none of the other girls, tell the other girls, actually. Somebody said, not the asshole, it's your daughter's business, not anybody else's. Their kids shouldn't be trying to look at people going to the bathroom. That's the real issue here. The bathroom door is closed and shouldn't need to be locked for someone to not walk in. Your daughter is 12. Why was her cousin trying to follow her into the bathroom? Now she has to feel ashamed, and people are angry about it, saying that it was a secret kept for them. Like, are you gonna sleep with her 12-year-old daughter? Does it matter? Was she bothering anybody? She was peeing. Am I the asshole for explaining gay people to a 5-year-old? So I, a 25 male, have a sister, 28 female, who recently got married to a guy, G, 33 male. And G has a daughter, D, 5 female. Oh great, I'm gonna call them George and Daniela. Makes it easier. Some context, my sister was always supportive of my coming out, and George is less supportive, I think. For example, my boyfriend wasn't invited to their marriage, and the excuse was that his mother is very religious. Before, me, my sister, and boyfriend used to always have dinner together. After the marriage, my sister never invited us together to her place. It's always at a restaurant, and George doesn't go. My sister asked me if I would take care of Daniela for the weekend, so she said that her and her husband George could take a weekend off to celebrate their 3 years together. I changed some plans and told him that I would do it. Daniela's a nice little girl. She's very talkative and she's really sensitive. On Saturday, we went to the mall with my boyfriend. At the mall, there was a workshop, arts and crafts at the playground, and I left Daniela there for 2 hours so I could have some time with my boyfriend. I asked my sister beforehand if that was okay, and she said that Daniela loves the workshops. When saying goodbye, my boyfriend gave me a little goodbye kiss. Nothing much, just a little kiss. I wasn't even sure if Daniela saw it. Sunday morning, I was watching TV with her, and she asked me if my boyfriend was my friend, and I said yes, but she asked why he kissed me, and I had a little bit of gay panic. I carefully explained to her that he was the same that my sister was to his father. She told me, but you're boys. And I said, there are boys who like boys, and there are girls who like girls, and that's okay. She didn't say anything after that. On Monday, I got an angry text from George saying that Daniela was confused because of me. I called him and he was just shouting that I had no right to introduce my way of life to his daughter. I was shocked and I called my sister, who said that I shouldn't have told Daniela what gay people are. Tuesday in the afternoon, I got an email from George saying that he was taking Daniela to his psychologist to see what damage I caused to his daughter and that I was supposed to pay for the session. He was even talking about a lawsuit against me. I was very shocked and I called my dad, who's a lawyer, to ask him what I should do. My parents were very upset with the situation and they decided to come to our city. Me and my sister, live in the capital. My parents are in a small city 3 hours from here. The situation escalated a little bit because George told my dad that he wasn't going to make the same mistakes that he did with me, and my dad was very angry about it. He said that George is not welcome in our home anymore, and he doesn't want to ever see him again. My sister, who I thought was at my side, just flipped at me saying that my mistake was going to destroy her marriage. My parents are on my side, and my friends too, but my sister's very angry at me, and even her best friend texted me saying I was stupid and childish to bring my father to the matter. So Reddit, am I the asshole here? No, absolutely not. I think that was handled very well. The daughter asked the question. He gave a simple answer. Sometimes boys like boys and girls like girls. And it confused her. So naturally, she's going to ask her parents that. Kids are curious. They're very curious about things. And George just has fucking whatever. He's just homophobic. Also, your sister marrying someone like that shows a lot about her character. Unless she's in some like bad relationship or trauma bonded to this man or something like that. But it shows, you are who you surround yourself with sometimes. So somebody said, not the asshole, your sister's husband is homophobic. Your sister knows he's homophobic and is happy to use you as a babysitter, but not stand up for you. All right, we're going to end here. And it says, am I the asshole for uninviting my transgender sister to my wedding? Some background, I have a trans sister. She came out to us around a year ago, but had been on hormones for longer and hid it from us until she moved out into her own place, probably because our parents are very conservative and known to be transphobic. As a result, there was this huge fight and a ton of people in our family, including our parents, cut her off and don't talk to her anymore. I like to think I've been pretty supportive of her so far, using her pronouns in her name and all of that, which has been hard considering our fam gives me shit for doing so. I even make it a point to visit her every so often, while she hasn't seen most of our other family since last year. I also promised her that if and when I got married in the future, she'd still be invited despite any tension with our family. Me and my fiance got engaged a while back. My parents, especially my dad, absolutely adore this guy, and since my sister came out, they've almost seen him as the substitute son. Almost as a result, he's definitely more on their side of the situation, and he's made it clear he doesn't really agree with or like my sister all that much. After the proposal, which was very elaborate and surprising and orchestrated by my parents, who are wedding planners, started talking with me about planning the big day and even offered to pay for everything. I mentioned wanting to invite my sister, and they shut down the idea immediately, talking about how she disrespected the family and cut them off and all of that. They basically gave me an ultimatum: have my wedding planned and paid for by them, or have my sister there, and they don't come at all. I took my parents' offer because I can't really afford to pay for an entire wedding because my fiance pressured me to accept it. I broke the news to my sister, and she's very understandably upset, but I'm still inviting her to a smaller after party over Zoom so we can still be together on the big day. I still feel really guilty about this though, so Reddit, am I the asshole? And then this person edited it twice and said, I don't think I made it clear enough how overbearing my parents are. Just saying no to them wasn't really an option for me, and if I declined their offer, they simply wouldn't have come to whatever smaller wedding I managed to plan, which would have been even worse. Second edit, I'm going to turn off notice for this post because people misconstruing my position and ignoring how difficult of a position I am. I hope you are all happy. First of all, don't come onto Reddit if you don't want to be dragged. Don't come into Am I the Asshole if you don't want to be called the asshole, because I think this person is definitely the asshole. Somebody said, you're the asshole. I marry a transphobic guy. That's literally all we have to say to this. You should have enough bravery to stand up to your parents like, oh, they're going to pay for the wedding, whatever, fucking wedding. You know what? 50% of marriages end up in divorce. So is it really worth it? Is it really? I mean, you're marrying someone who's transphobic. That's red flag number one. Where are the rest of them? Because I know there's a lot more if that's one of them. If you truly really cared and accepted your sister and cared for her, then she would be at your wedding. Oh yeah, we'll just throw her on a fucking Zoom ceremony. You know, because that'll really do it. If you really care about somebody, stand up for them. Who gives a fuck about your stupid one-day wedding? Shit's not gonna matter. I mean, it is, whatever. It is gonna. I have a weird view on marriage after things have happened, but it is just not worth it to make your sister feel worthless. Somebody said she even makes it a point to visit every so often, and she uses the correct pronouns, even though the rest of her family doesn't like that. You are an ally. You are a strong ally. Anyways, that's everything I have for today. I really enjoyed this, so I think we're gonna have to have a part 2. And I know I've been saying the next video is going to be the Ollie London video, but it has been a headache and it's taking a lot longer, so you will see it very soon though. I'm sorry, but I just finished up part 1. There's 2 parts to it, so I think that will be the next video we'll be seeing. If not, you can come smack me in the face. Okay, you get 1 free smack. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you have a great rest of your day, and yeah, love you very much. Bye.